Chosen one. You have likely noticed that your face is changing, the lines are softening, a strange clarity is returning to your eyes, and a youthfulness you thought was lost is beginning to surface. This isn't the work of a new skincare routine or a sudden stroke of luck. You are the subject of a long-guarded blueprint. The truth is, you weren't aging. You were being contained to build the load-bearing walls required for the weight you are about to carry. For years, your life felt like a series of closed doors and unrefined silences. You watched others move forward with a speed that felt insulting to your own stagnation. You saw them build, arrive, and celebrate while you remained in a strange, thick invisibility. It was easy to conclude that you were falling behind, or worse, that heaven had forgotten the coordinates of your life. But looking back through the lens of internal architecture, that interpretation was a fundamental misunderstanding of how greatness is engineered. The architect does not build skyscrapers on top of shifting sand. Before a structure can ever scrape the clouds, a massive, unseen amount of concrete must be poured into the dark, cold earth. It must sit there invisible to the world. It must cure. It must harden in the silence until it is rated for the gravity it will eventually hold. You were in the curing phase. Every year of delay was a deposit into the density of your character. The silence wasn't a void. It was a classroom where you learned how to exist without the fuel of external validation. Think of a military general holding back his most elite unit while the battle rages in the distance. To the observer, that unit looks inactive, perhaps even useless. But the general isn't being passive, he is being precise. He is waiting for the terrain to match the unit's specific strength. He is containing their force so it isn't wasted on a skirmish that doesn't matter. Your past was a strategic containment. You were being held in reserve because the you from 5 years ago did not yet have the internal load-bearing walls to sustain the glory of the assignment ahead. This containment was a form of protection. If you had been released into your purpose before your internal structure was cured, the very weight of your success would have fractured you. You would have been crushed by the expectations, the exposure, and the sudden influx of responsibility. Heaven loves you too much to give you a platform that your character cannot support. So the architect kept you in the dark. He kept you small, he kept you unseen while he reinforced your joints and tightened your resolve. The pain you felt during those years, the loneliness, the sense of being misunderstood, the frustration of unused potential wasn't a sign of failure. It was the sound of the structure settling. It was the pressure required to turn carbon into something harder. You were learning the skill of stability in invisibility. If you can stand firm when no one is watching, you will not collapse when the world finally turns its gaze toward you. You were building the capacity to be inhabited by truth rather than being inflated by ego. This is why your face is changing now. The aging you perceived in the past was actually the physical manifestation of internal friction. You were trying to force yourself into roles that were too small for your blueprint. You were bracing yourself against a timeline that didn't belong to you. That constant tension, that bracing for a breakthrough that never came, carved lines of exhaustion into your features. It made you look older because you were carrying the weight of a struggle you were never meant to win. But recently, something shifted. You stopped bracing. You realized that the architect's timeline is the only one that carries actual momentum. As you surrendered to the curing process, the internal friction began to dissolve. When the war within stops, the face begins to reflect the peace of the foundation. You are looking younger because you are no longer using your energy to fight the containment. You have accepted the architecture. You have realized that nothing was wasted, not a single tear, not a single night of wondering when. You are like a high-performance engine that has finally been tuned to the correct frequency. The heat of the struggle is dissipating, replaced by the cool efficiency of a structure that knows its own strength. The youthfulness you see in the mirror is the result of your soul finally catching up to your spirit. Your spirit has always been ageless, always vibrant, always aligned with the architect's original design. Now that your internal walls are cured, your body is allowed to reflect that reality. Anointed One. Your past wasn't a graveyard of lost years. It was a construction site. You were the apprentice who had to learn how to handle the tools in the dark so you wouldn't cut yourself in the light. You were the athlete whose muscles were being torn down so they could grow back with a higher density. The invisibility was the seal of your blueprint. It was the guarantee that what is built in you will last for generations, not just for a season. As you stand here today, realize that the foundation is finished. The concrete has hardened. The load-bearing walls are upright and tested. You are no longer a project in progress. You are a structure ready for occupation. The architect is walking through the halls of your inner man, checking the alignment, ensuring the integrity of the work. The silence has served its purpose. The containment is being lifted, not because you fought for it, but because the structure is finally rated for the movement of heaven. You are not behind. You are exactly where the blueprint dictated you would be. The lines are softening because the burden of trying has been replaced by the authority of being. You have survived the curing phase. Now you are ready to be inhabited by the fullness of the space you have prepared. Anointed One, as the foundation from your years of containment settles, a new phenomenon is manifesting in your daily reality. You have likely entered a season where you feel a specific kind of tiredness that sleep cannot fix. It is not the exhaustion of physical labor, but the profound strain of seeing too much. For years you moved through the world with a certain level of blurriness that allowed you to tolerate environments, conversations, and systems that were fundamentally broken. But that blurriness was a protection for a structure that was not yet finished. Now the architect has brought your internal systems online, and the first symptom of an activated structure is a heightened, almost surgical sensitivity to everything that is structurally unsound around you. This is the fatigue of awareness. It occurs because your perception is no longer filtered through the lens of survival, but through the lens of truth. Imagine for years you lived in a room with dim lighting. You could ignore the dust on the shelves and the cracks in the walls because you simply could not see them clearly. But suddenly, heaven has flipped the switch on a high-definition floodlight. Now, every inconsistency, every lie, and every misalignment is visible in agonizing detail. You are seeing the difference between signal and noise, between authentic presence and social performance. And once you see the misalignment in the world around you, you cannot unsee it. This realization carries a massive energetic weight. It requires an immense amount of energy to remain present in a room where everyone else is pretending while you are the only one reading the actual reality of the situation. The architect is currently performing a deep calibration of your nervous system. This is why your tolerance for noise has dropped so drastically. You might find yourself sitting at a family gathering or a professional meeting feeling a strange physical resistance, a tightness in your chest, or a sudden need to leave the room. This isn't social anxiety. It is structural incongruence. Your internal system is now vibrating at a frequency of precision that literally cannot harmonize with the distorted frequencies of business as usual. You are being calibrated to recognize truth at a cellular level, and the friction between your new frequency and the old world is what creates this unique fatigue. It is the cost of clarity. This calibration is exactly why your face is changing. For decades, you carried what I call the social brace. This is a subconscious tension held in the jaw, the forehead, and around the eyes. It is the physical effort of performative agreement, the act of smiling when you feel nothing, of nodding when you disagree, and of softening your edge so as not to disturb the delusions of others. That bracing is a heavy, aging labor. It carves deep lines of weariness into the skin because it is a constant construction project of the ego. But as your new structure comes online, you are losing the ability to maintain the brace. You are becoming too tired to pretend. When you stop bracing, the muscles of your face finally return to their original neutral state. The tension that has been pulling at your features for years is being released. This is why people are telling you that you look rested even when you feel exhausted. They are seeing the absence of the mask. Your face is returning to its blueprint state, the version of you that existed before you started trying to solve everyone else's problems or fit into boxes that were too small. You are aging backwards because you are shedding the weight of other people's expectations. You are no longer using your vital life force to power a facade, and that reclaimed energy is now flowing back into your cells, creating a radiance that no cosmetic product can replicate. This season of heightened perception is also a period of intense filtering. You are noticing that you can no longer consume the same media, listen to the same music, or engage in the same gossip. It feels like a physical rejection. Your system is now so precise that it treats falsehood as a toxin. You are being moved into a state of social sobriety. This is often a lonely transition, but it is necessary for the next phase of your architecture. The architect is teaching you how to stand in a room and remain coherent even when the environment is chaotic. He is showing you that your value is not found in how well you blend in, but in how clearly you stand out as a point of reference. Understand that this fatigue is temporary, but the precision it brings is permanent. You are moving from a person who reacts to the world to a person who observes the world from a fixed point of internal authority. The tiredness you feel is the sound of your old reactive self dying so that the steward can be born. Do not rush through this. Do not try to caffeinate your way out of this holy exhaustion. Sit with it. Let the architect finish the dial turning. You are being prepared to walk into rooms and change the atmosphere simply by being the most calibrated person in the room. The shift in your face is the testimony of this internal victory. You are looking more like yourself every day because you are finally brave enough to stop looking like everyone else. The lines are fading because the lies are being deleted. Your eyes are clearing because you have stopped looking for validation and started looking for truth. You're standing in the present moment, fully activated, fully aware, and finally structurally sound. This is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of your occupation. You have built the house, and now you're learning how to live in it with your eyes wide open. As the heavy fog of the long waiting season begins to lift, it reveals a landscape that has fundamentally changed. The exhaustion you feel is the strain of a system finally coming online. This is not a permanent state of depletion. It is the labor of activation. What was once a subtle sensitivity to your environment has now shifted into a decisive, automated function, the filter. This is not a social strategy you calculated in your mind. It is a spiritual and biological rejection of everything that is no longer compatible with your new structure. When your internal frequency becomes accurate, it simply stops accommodating distortion. Chosen one. You have likely noticed a sudden, involuntary inability to perform the social gymnastics that used to keep your environment stable. In the past, you were the unspoken stabilizer. You smoothed over awkward silences, laughed at jokes that held no humor, and nodded in agreement with opinions that lacked substance just to keep the peace. You adjusted your own shape to make others comfortable, but now the architect has removed the mandate for that kind of labor. The grace for pretense has lifted. You have stopped compensating, and the moment you stop propping up the illusions around you, the dynamics that relied on your effort begin to collapse. Relationships sustained solely by your flexibility now struggle to breathe. Conversations dependent on your validation wither into silence. To those around you, this looks like a sudden change in personality. They may ask if you are upset or why you have become so quiet. But you're not withdrawing, you are standing still in your own coherence. You are no longer willing to fragment yourself to maintain a connection. You have realized that a bond bought at the price of your integrity is not a bond, it is bondage. In this stillness, resonance becomes the only thing that can sustain a connection. Those who cannot meet you in this new space of clarity will naturally drift to the periphery. This is not a loss to be mourned. It is a structural correction. Heaven is clearing the construction site. Before a new level of responsibility can be entrusted to you, the environment must be swept clean of anything that would drain your capacity or distort your focus. This filtering is turning inward as well. You are beginning to catch your own thoughts before they spiral into unnecessary drama. In the past, if you were misunderstood, you might have spent days rehearsing explanations in your mind, desperate to correct the record. Now you watch that impulse rise and simply let it fall. You are realizing that being understood is a luxury, but being accurate is a necessity. You stop offering explanations to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. This saves you an immense amount of bandwidth energy that is now being redirected towards strengthening your internal spine. You are currently standing in the in-between. This is the gap between the version of you that has died and the version that has not yet fully arrived. It can feel lonely here, but it is a clean loneliness devoid of the desperate grasping for belonging that plagued your younger years. You are learning that the absence of people is not the same as the absence of support. The architect is teaching you to be sustained by your own vertical alignment rather than horizontal validation. Reduced illusion has become your operational reality. You see dynamics for what they truly are, stripped of the potential you used to project onto them. You see that a person's busyness was actually avoidance. You see that certain opportunities were merely distractions wrapped in gold foil. If the foundation is not there, you do not invest. There is a specific discipline required in this chapter, the discipline of restraint. As filtering creates space around you, you will be tempted to fill that void. The silence can be intimidating. You may feel the urge to reach back into the past, to revive dead connections, just to alleviate the quiet. Do not do it. That space is not empty. It is prepared. It is being held open for what actually belongs to you. If you fill it with clutter now, out of fear, you leave no room for the weighty responsibilities that are approaching. Anointed One, do not apologize for the boundaries that are emerging naturally from your life. You are not becoming hard, you are becoming defined. A structure without walls is not a home, it is a ruin. God is raising the walls of your character, defining clearly where you begin and where you end. This definition is what makes you safe for power. Only a vessel that is sealed and distinct can hold the oil without leaking. You are being sealed. You are being set apart, not for punishment, but for preservation. You have cleared the ground. You have defined the perimeter. Now, you are ready to learn how to occupy this space with stewardship. Chosen one with the perimeter defined and the noise filtered out, you are now standing in a cleared space. This silence is not a void to be filled with new distractions. It is a workspace designed for a fundamental shift in how you operate. You are moving out of the era of reaction and into the era of stewardship. For most of your life, your movement was dictated by external stimuli. It was a simple, exhausting equation. A crisis occurred, and you rushed to fix it. A question was asked, and you felt compelled to answer immediately. A tension arose, and you immediately took it upon yourself to resolve it, lowering the temperature for everyone else while you burned through your own peace. You were efficient, yes, but you were constantly leaking energy. You were managed by the demands of your environment rather than managing yourself within it. Now the architect is reversing that flow. Stewardship is the discipline of internal governance. It is the refusal to let your state of being be determined by chaos. Your primary responsibility is not to control outcomes, but to steward your own stance. You no longer ask what the situation needs from you. You ask if the situation aligns with the structure you are building. If the answer is no, you do not engage. This is the highest form of active restraint. This shift requires you to master the art of non-participation. There is a powerful economy to your emotions now. You are realizing that your attention is a finite resource, a currency that must be invested, not spent. In the past, you were generous to a fault, funding the emotional deficits of others with your internal reserves. You allowed people to pull you into their storms, thinking that your involvement was an act of love. But the architect is showing you a hard truth. Participating in dysfunction does not heal it. It only prolongs it. When you jump into the mud to help someone who loves the mud, you only get dirty. Worse, you validate their belief that someone will always be there to clean up the mess they refused to address. When you refuse to participate in the manufactured urgency of others, you force them to carry their own weight. This is uncomfortable for them, and they may accuse you of changing. They are right. You have stopped being the buffer between them and their consequences. By stepping back, you are not abandoning them. You are respecting the reality of their choices. You are allowing the natural laws of cause and effect to do the teaching that your words never could. This brings you to the most difficult part of stewardship, breaking the rescuer pattern. You have spent years propping up relationships and projects that were structurally unsound. You compensated for others' lack of discipline with your own excess effort. You stabilized the wobble in their lives so they wouldn't have to feel the shake. Anointed one, an architect, knows that a foundation built on someone else's back will never settle. By constantly rescuing you, were inadvertently preventing the collapse that was necessary for true rebuilding. You were acting as a crutch for a leg that needed to learn how to walk. Stewardship asks you to stand by and watch things fail if they are meant to fail. This feels counterintuitive to your protective nature, but you must understand that you are not the savior of every scenario you perceive. You are the steward of your own alignment. When you intervene prematurely, you violate the process. You take on a load that was not measured for you, and in doing so, you risk fracturing your own integrity. True help is remaining grounded enough to show others what stability looks like, should they choose to build it for themselves. As you practice this, you will notice a change in your physiology. The frantic, low-level anxiety that used to hum in the background of your days will begin to quiet. This is because you are no longer bracing for impact. You are no longer scanning the horizon for fires to put out. You are simply occupying your position. This is the stance of command, not over others, but over yourself. You are learning to hold tension without rushing to resolve it. You are learning to let a question hang in the air without rushing to fill the silence with an answer. You are learning that your presence, when fully aligned, is more potent than your activity. This is the transition from being a mechanic who frantically fixes the engine to the captain who steers the ship. The mechanic is defined by the problem. The captain is defined by the destination. The mechanic's hands are always dirty, but the captain's eyes are always on the horizon. As this chapter of stewardship deepens, you are becoming a vessel that can hold weight without buckling. You're no longer leaking, you're accumulating internal power. This accumulation creates the gravity that characterizes your life. You affect the environment by remaining positioned in truth. Mastery over your internal terrain marks the end of fragmentation. You gather resources and protect peace as holy ground. The architect has moved you to the stewardship of the self. You stand in a new center. This is your readiness. This is your transformation. Chosen. One, you have successfully transitioned from the internal labor of filtering and the heavy discipline of stewardship into a phase that is as potent as it is misunderstood. We call this the mechanics of quiet disruption. Up until this point, your journey has been largely defensive. You were protecting your peace, sealing your leaks, and learning how to remain upright while the structures around you wobbled. But as your internal architecture achieves a certain density, your presence begins to act upon the environment in ways you did not plan and cannot control. You are no longer merely surviving the atmosphere. You have become the atmospheric pressure. This is the stage where your stability becomes a problem for those who are committed to instability. It is where your accuracy becomes an indictment of the performances happening around you. Anointed one, you must understand that this disruption is not something you do. It is the involuntary byproduct of a life that has been cured in the dark. In the past, you were a mirror that reflected whatever was placed in front of you. If a room was chaotic, you absorbed the chaos and tried to manage it. If a person was manipulative, you adjusted your words to navigate their ego. You were a reactive agent. But the architect has fundamentally changed your composition. You are no longer a mirror. You have become a tuning fork. A tuning fork does not care about the noise around it. It only cares about its own specific, calibrated frequency. When you walk into a room holding a steady, high-precision frequency of truth, every other instrument in that room is forced to respond to you. Those who are close to your frequency will feel a sudden, beautiful sense of relief. They will begin to align with you. But those who are wildly out of tune will experience your presence as a literal irritation. They will find your silence loud, your boundaries aggressive, and your clarity judgmental. This is the physics of resonance. You are not doing anything to them. You are simply existing with such coherence that their lack of it is suddenly painfully visible. This quiet disruption is most evident in the way people now react to your lack of participation in the usual social rituals of pretense. You have reached a level of internal governance where you no longer feel the need to fill the dead space of a conversation with meaningless chatter. You have stopped nodding at things you don't agree with. You have stopped laughing at jokes that carry a hidden sting. To you, this is just honesty. To the world, this is a seismic shift. When you refuse to participate in the manufactured urgency or the toxic gossip of an environment, you are effectively unplugging the power source that those dynamics need to survive. Your non-participation acts as a vacuum. It forces others to see the hollowness of the scripts they are running. This is why people may suddenly seem uncomfortable in your presence, even when you haven't said a word. You have become a pillar, and the very nature of a pillar is that it does not move to accommodate the shifting floor. The floor must eventually decide whether to settle around the pillar or to crack. Anointed one, do not mistake this discomfort for a lack of love or a failure in your character. The architect is using your stability to test the integrity of everything you touch. You are a diagnostic tool in the hands of heaven. When a structure is unsound, the worst thing you can do is prop it up. The kindest thing you can do is stand so firmly in the truth that the unsound structure is forced to reveal its own fractures. This is the hard grace of chosen depth. You are providing people with the opportunity to see their own misalignment, not by preaching to them, but by being the standard. You are the clean line in a room of crooked angles. This requires a new kind of courage, the courage to be the problem in a room that is comfortable with lies. You must accept that your presence will now act as a catalyst for either transformation or exit. Some will be drawn to your light because they are tired of the dark. Others will flee from your light because they are not yet ready to be seen. As this disruption intensifies, you will notice that your internal noise floor has dropped significantly. You can hear the architect's subtle directives with a clarity that was impossible during the years of containment. You are learning to move with the economy of force. You no longer waste energy on grand gestures or loud declarations. You understand that a single accurate word spoken from a place of alignment carries more weight than 1,000 sentences spoken from a place of performance. You are learning to wait for the click of resonance before you act. This is the maturity of the anointed. You are no longer chasing outcomes. You are stewarding a stance. You have realized that if the architect has positioned you in a specific place, it is because your specific frequency is required to hold that ground. You are not there to fix the building. You are there to be the structural element that prevents the building from collapsing entirely, or perhaps to be the one around which a new, better structure can eventually be built. Chosen one, the fog is gone and the blueprint is clear. You are standing in the center of your own life, fully possessed of your own soul. The years of being unseen were not a punishment. They were the curing process for this exact level of gravity. You have the mass required to hold your position. You have the density required to resist the pull of the world's shallow currents. You are a witness to the power of a life that has been rebuilt from the inside out. Do not apologize for the space you occupy. Do not shrink to make others comfortable. Do not down-regulate your frequency to match the static of the world. The earth is leaning on you, and for the first time you are strong enough to carry the weight without breaking. You are ready for occupancy. The architect is pleased not with what you are doing, but with who you have become. Stand firm. Hold the line. The disruption is necessary. The resonance is real. You are the pillar. If you recognize this quiet power growing within you, if you have felt the strange, involuntary disruption of your presence in the old spaces, then you are standing where you belong. Leave a mark of your presence, a single word like resonance, a number, or a simple signal of alignment. We are gathering the steady. We are building a reality that does not need to shout to be heard. Stay in your stance. The work is finished. The alignment is complete. You are home. Chosen one. The scaffolding is finally coming down. For years, your life has been a construction site, loud with the sounds of internal demolition, dusty with the debris of broken patterns, and restricted by the yellow tape of divine containment. You have lived behind barriers, watching the world pass by from the safety of your curing foundation. But the architect has declared the structural phase complete. You are now entering the law of occupancy. This is the moment where the internal work you have done in the dark must now bear the full weight of the light. Occupancy is not an achievement. It is a state of being. It is the transition from becoming to being. Most people spend their entire lives in a state of perpetual preparation, always one workshop, one prayer, or one breakthrough away from actually living. But for the anointed, there comes a day when the preparation ends and the inhabitation begins. You are at that day. To occupy your life means to stop asking for permission to exist in the space you have already paid for with your endurance. In the previous chapters, you learned to filter out the noise and to steward your internal peace. But occupancy requires something more. It requires mass. When you occupy a space, you displace what was there before. You are no longer trying to fit into the rooms of your life. You are the one who determines the atmosphere of those rooms. Think of the difference between a tenant and an owner. A tenant is careful not to leave marks on the walls. They live in constant awareness that the space isn't truly theirs. An owner, however, moves with a different kind of liberty. They know the plumbing, they know the wiring, and they know the strength of the foundation. They do not panic when the wind blows because they know how the house was built. You are moving into the ownership of your soul. This shift changes your internal dialogue. You stop explaining yourself to people who do not have the blueprints to your life. In the past, when someone misunderstood you, you felt a desperate need to justify your position. That was the behavior of a tenant. Now you understand that your presence is its own justification. If you are in the room, it is because the architect put you there. If you have the authority, it is because you survived the curing process required to hold it. You no longer need to argue for your value because your value is now structural. You have become a load-bearing element in the lives of those around you, and a pillar does not need to explain why it is standing. It simply holds the roof up. Occupancy also involves a new relationship with silence. In the earlier stages of your journey, silence felt like a void or a punishment, a sign that God had forgotten you. Now silence is your primary tool of governance. When you occupy your space fully, you do not need to fill every gap with words. Your silence has weight. It is a full silence, not an empty silence. People will feel the pressure of your presence even when you are not speaking. This is the gravity of the anointed. It is the result of years of being compressed in the dark. That compression has turned your character into something dense and unshakable. When you walk into a situation, you are not looking for what you can get. You are aware of what you bring. You bring the stability that the architect built into you during the long years of invisibility. There is a specific danger in this chapter, the temptation to retreat back into the scaffolding. Because you have been under construction for so long, you might feel a strange comfort in the waiting. The identity of the struggling seeker is a hard one to shed. You might find yourself looking for more problems to fix or more trauma to heal, just so you can stay in the safety of the construction phase. But the law of occupancy demands that you stop fixing and start inhabiting. The house is finished. The windows are set. The air is clear. To stay in the construction mindset now is to deny the work the architect has already done. It is an act of hidden pride to claim you are not ready when the one who built you says you are. As you occupy this new level of reality, you will notice that the old you, the one who was easily offended, the one who chased validation, the one who lived in a state of reaction, has no room to breathe here. That version of you required a different environment to survive. It thrived on the instability and the drama of the unfinished. But the structure you now inhabit is too solid for that version of you. It is being squeezed out by the sheer volume of your new alignment. This is the final stage of the cleanse. You are being filled with the fullness of your true design, leaving no space for the fragments of your past. Anointed One, do not be afraid of the weight of this occupancy. You were built for this specific gravity. The world may call you heavy or intense, but that is only because they are used to the weightlessness of performance. You are the counterweight to the chaos. You are the anchor in the storm. The architect is not asking you to do anything other than to remain positioned, to stand, to breathe, to occupy. This is the highest form of service, to be a person who cannot be moved. From this stance of occupancy, your influence flows naturally, without effort and without ego. You have finally come home to yourself. The doors are open, the light is on, the structure is inhabited. If you feel the click of this final alignment, if you recognize that the season of waiting is over and the season of inhabiting has begun, then mark this moment. You do not need to shout. You do not need to explain. Simply leave a sign of your presence, the word occupancy, a number or a signal that you have moved in. Let this be the seal on the finished work. We are gathering the steady. We are finding the pillars. Your life is no longer a project. It is a witness. The stance is held, the house is full, and the architect is pleased. Welcome home, my chosen one. You have moved beyond the threshold of occupancy and into the realm of precision movement. Previously, your life was characterized by friction. Every step forward felt like a negotiation with gravity, a constant battle against external resistance and internal doubt. You moved with the heavy grinding effort of a machine that was poorly lubricated and out of alignment. But as the law of occupancy takes full effect, the nature of your momentum changes. You are no longer trying to move. You are simply being carried by the momentum of your own coherence. This is the difference between a rower struggling against the current and a high-speed train gliding on a perfectly level track. The track is your character. The level is your alignment. The movement is now inevitable. In this chapter, you must learn the discipline of minimal effort. Because your internal structure is now dense and calibrated, you no longer need the loud performative energy of your previous seasons. You have discovered that a single precise action taken from a place of absolute stillness is more effective than 1,000 frantic activities born of anxiety. This is the authority of the small. You are learning to wait for the click of divine timing. That moment where the path opens, not because you pushed the door, but because your frequency unlocked the latch. You are moving with an economy of force that the world finds baffling. They see your results, but they cannot find the source of your effort. They see the output, but they miss the internal engine that produces it without smoke or noise. This precision requires a radical commitment to integrity over opportunity. Now that you are online, many doors will open. Not all of them are for you. Previously, you were hungry for any sign of progress, grabbing at every open door out of a fear of being left behind. Now you stand at the gate as a sentinel. You measure every invitation against the internal blueprint. If an opportunity requires you to fragment your peace or compromise your stance, you let it pass without a second thought. You have realized that an open door is only a blessing if it leads to a room where you can remain whole. You are no longer chasing more, you are protecting accurate. This is the highest form of maturity, the ability to say no to the good so that you remain available for the structural. Anointed One, your movement is now a silent witness. You are showing a frantic, collapsing world what it looks like to be productive without being stressed and significant without being loud. You have traded the spectacle of speed for the power of depth. You are the deep sea vessel that can navigate the crushing pressures of the abyss because your internal pressure is now equal to the external. You do not collapse because there is no hollow space left inside you. You are solid. You are certain. Your stance is held. Ready. Chosen one. We have reached the final coordinate of this specific blueprint. You have moved through the demolition of the old self, the filtering of misaligned environments, the heavy stewardship of your own peace, and the eventual occupancy of your true nature. You are no longer under construction. Now you arrive at the most enduring and potent phase, the legacy of stillness. The noise of becoming has finally ceased. You have moved from a life defined by the external gaze to a life governed by the internal truth of the architect's masterful blueprint. In the world's frantic economy, legacy is built through accumulation and loud declarations. The louder the noise, the larger the footprint is assumed to be. But in the architect's economy, legacy is defined by what remains when the noise stops. It is the quality of the vacuum you leave behind. You are no longer a person trying to make a difference. You are a person whose very difference is unshakable. You have traded importance for the weight of being essential. Consider the stone placed in the center of a fast-moving river. The stone does not fight the water. It does not argue with the current or attempt to redirect the flow through sheer willpower or aggressive persuasion. It simply stays. Because it is dense and rooted in the riverbed, the water is forced to navigate around it. The ripples created by its presence extend far beyond its physical edges, changing the rhythm of the river without the stone ever moving an inch. This is your reality. Your stillness is an active structural disruption. By remaining positioned in your truth, you create a zone of coherence that others can use to find their own way. Your legacy is not your labor. It is the peace that persists in your wake. This journey has not been about reaching a destination, but about becoming a destination for others. You have become the safe ground for those who are drowning in the superficial. People will come to you not for your advice or your clever words, but for your atmosphere. They will seek your presence because in your stillness they can finally hear the truth of their own internal voice. Your stance provides their silence. This presence is your contribution. You have nothing left to prove, nothing to defend, and nothing to hide. The fragmentation that once defined your life has been replaced by a singular, integrated weight. You are a vessel that is finally full, anointed one. The architect has finished the work. The structure is no longer a project. It is a monument to the power of the invisible. You have survived the dark, the curing, and the pressure. You have allowed the silence to teach you what the noise never could. Now you are the light that does not flicker under the wind. You are simply here. You are the pillar that does not lean. The earth is leaning on you, and for the first time you are holding the weight without strain. This is the end of the script, but the beginning of the witness. Your stance is held. Your alignment is total. You are home. Mark this completion. You do not need to perform. Simply leave your seal, the word, finished, a number, or a simple signal of your presence and alignment. We are gathering the steady. We are finding the pillars who know that the most powerful thing you can do is stand. The work is done. The stance is held. The architect is pleased. The alignment is complete. You are finally at peace. Stand.